You lie down on a bed of dry grass. There's no mattress beneath you, no pillow, no white noise machine humming in the corner. Just packed earth, a small fire, and the sound of someone breathing nearby. Your eyes close. Sleep comes fast. For roughly 300,000 years, this was the entire bedtime routine of every human who ever lived. Today, over 30 million Americans take medication just to fall asleep. Something happened between then and now. Your ancestors didn't have memory foam. They didn't have blackout curtains, weighted blankets, or sleep tracking apps that buzz on your wrist at 2 a.m. And yet insomnia, as you understand it, was barely a footnote in their world. So what changed? Was it the mattress, or was it something deeper? To understand how ancient humans slept, you have to throw out almost everything you assume about a good night's sleep. In 2015, sleep researcher Jerome Siegel and his team at UCLA strapped sleep monitors onto 3 groups still living without electricity: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Simene of Bolivia. The goal was simple: find out how people sleep when there's no artificial light, no alarm clock, and no Sunday night anxiety about Monday morning. What they found surprised almost everyone studying sleep at the time. These groups weren't sleeping 9 or 10 hours a night, the way popular imagination pictures natural sleep. They slept around 6.5 hours, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. That's actually less than the 8 hours doctors often recommend today. But here's the part that matters. None of them reported chronic insomnia. The word barely translated into their languages at all. Their bodies fell asleep when core temperature began to drop, not the moment the sun went down. And they woke up before sunrise, not after it. Light controlled the rhythm, temperature triggered the switch. Nobody needed a melatonin gummy to make it happen. There was no nightcap of wine to force drowsiness. No scrolling through a phone until the eyes finally surrendered. Siegel's team also tracked something else, something almost nobody expects to hear. None of the 3 groups took regular daytime naps, despite living in some of the hottest climates on the planet. The popular image of the hunter-gatherer dozing through the heat of midday turned out to be mostly myth. Their bodies had simply tuned themselves to one efficient stretch of darkness. Instead of breaking sleep into scattered pieces across the day, whatever was driving the rhythm, it wasn't comfort, it wasn't luxury, it was the rise and fall of light and heat, working on the body like a key turning a lock. But sleep was never only about timing, it was also about the surface itself. Where exactly were people lying down, night after night, for hundreds of thousands of years? This is where the evidence gets physical, dug straight out of the ground. At Sibidu Cave in South Africa, archaeologist Lynn Wadley led excavations that uncovered the oldest known bedding in the archaeological record, layers of compacted grass dating back roughly 200,000 years. This wasn't random plant debris blown in by wind. The grass was deliberately gathered, layered, and topped with leaves from a plant called Cryptocarya woodii, which contains natural insect-repelling compounds. When the bedding grew dirty or infested, that layer was burned away and replaced with fresh grass on top. Your ancestors weren't simply sleeping on the ground. They were engineering a clean, bug-resistant mattress system out of raw plant material, tens of thousands of years before anyone invented a box spring. Now picture it, not as a fact on a page, but as a night you could actually live through. So let's reconstruct one of those nights. The sun drops behind the horizon and the sky shifts from orange to deep indigo. Earlier that day, while the light was still good, you gathered fresh grass and layered it inside a shallow hollow scooped out near the fire. The fire isn't only for warmth. It keeps insects at a distance and gives off just enough light to see who's lying beside you. You lie down. The ground beneath the grass still holds a little of the day's heat, and it cools slowly as the night deepens, easing your body down with it instead of fighting against it the way an air-conditioned bedroom does. Someone nearby is still talking in a low voice. A child shifts in their sleep a few feet away. There's no door to close, no wall sealing you off from the rest of your group. Sleep in this world was never a solitary act. It happened inside a cluster of bodies, breathing in rough rhythm, half aware of every rustle and cough around you. If something moved in the dark, someone would notice. You didn't have to listen for it alone. And that's where the real twist comes in, because historian Roger Akirch uncovered something that completely upends the idea of one smooth, unbroken night of sleep. Digging through pre-industrial European court records, diaries, and medical texts, Akirch found repeated references to a first sleep and a second sleep, separated by an hour or more of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. People use that gap to pray, talk, have sex, tend a fire, or simply lie awake in the dark, thinking. It wasn't insomnia, it was just how the night was structured before artificial light convinced everyone that sleep had to arrive as one continuous 8-hour block. Segmented sleep wasn't a flaw in the human body. For most of history, it might have been the default setting. Here's the part nobody expects. The solid, uninterrupted block of sleep you're chasing every night, the one sleep apps promise to optimize for you, may never have been the biological standard at all. It might be a relatively recent invention, built by gaslight, factory shifts, and the 8-hour workday. Your ancestors weren't broken sleepers struggling to hit some imaginary target. They were working with a rhythm shaped by darkness, temperature, and physical closeness to other people for hundreds of thousands of years. Then artificial light arrived, pushed bedtime later, erased the wakeful gap in the middle of the night, and somehow the new version got labeled normal, while anything else got filed away as a disorder. Even the shift to farming, thousands of years before electricity, had already started chipping away at that old rhythm. Once humans settled into fixed villages and began guarding stored grain and livestock, sleep stopped being something shared loosely around a single fire. It split into walled rooms, locked doors, and individual responsibility for staying safe through the night. The campfire that once let an entire group sleep lightly and collectively, trusting that someone else would notice danger first, gave way to a single household listening for trouble alone. Comfort went up. Vigilance, oddly, went up with it. So what does any of this mean for you, lying in bed tonight, scrolling a screen until your eyes finally give out? It means the mattress was probably never the real problem, and it was never really the solution either. Your ancestors didn't need memory foam because they weren't fighting against light pollution, social isolation, and a body that no longer knows when the sun went down. They had darkness that actually got dark. They had a drop in temperature they could feel without a thermostat working against it. They had other bodies breathing nearby, instead of a phone glowing in their hand at 1 in the morning. The fact that some of the wealthiest, most comfortable people in human history also report the worst sleep on record isn't a coincidence. The conditions that signal safe to sleep to a body shaped by 300,000 years of evolution are exactly the conditions modern life has quietly stripped away, one convenience at a time. Think about your own bedroom for a second. A streetlight glows through the blinds all night, never fully dimming the way a campfire would. The thermostat holds a flat, unchanging temperature, so your body never gets the falling temperature signal that once told it sleep was safe to begin. You're alone behind a closed door, with nobody nearby to share the burden of staying alert to the world. None of that makes you weak or broken. It just means your environment stopped speaking the same language your body has used for hundreds of thousands of years, and nobody bothered to translate. You don't need to sleep on grass to fix that, but it's worth asking what your body is actually responding to at night. Is it the thread count of your sheets? Or is it the dark, the cool air, the absence of a blue screen insisting it's still daytime? Anthropologist Carol Worthman, who has spent decades studying sleep across dozens of cultures, found the same pattern again and again in her cross-cultural work. The more a society insulates itself from natural light and temperature cues, and the more it isolates individuals into separate rooms to sleep alone, the more that society reports trouble sleeping. Comfort, it turns out, was never the missing ingredient. Connection and darkness were. You lie down tonight on a mattress your ancestors never could have imagined, in a room sealed off from every temperature swing that once told their bodies exactly when to drift off. No mattress made that very first night of human sleep possible. Your body did, and somewhere underneath the memory foam, it still remembers how.